Here we go. Couldn't be more excited. Wishing this was bourbon. Can't drink.
This could all go horribly wrong at any minute.
Hello. Hello, and welcome to the 208th edition of Lewis Black's Rantcast, entitled Hibernation and the Commanders. That's right. I really was hoping for a better title today. Been sitting around literally for quite a while trying to figure it out, trying to something a little more snappy, because really a lot of the times these things intermesh. But hibernation was really what I've been thinking about this week, because it always hits me at this time of year and just how smart bears are. And the Commanders, who really literally have given me one of the great runs that I've watched a team do in quite some time. My team, the team I root for, I mean, because I really don't get that excited when other teams go, boy, I got to see that team make a record. I don't give a shit. I want my team to make a record. Boy, but they're going to do it 3 times. I don't care. I'd rather my team had gotten into the Super Bowl, but it just was not meant to be. And the name Commanders, I think, is the last thing that needs to be changed, in which we can get over the hump, because it literally is. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, and we always wonder about that, don't we? I do. That it was that the illustrious Dan Snyder, who was out again whining this week because he is upset that they're doing well. And he was such a fan. He was such a fan. He put that team on his back and dropped it, and then walked backwards and stepped on him, and walked forwards and stepped on him, walked backwards, picked him up in 1999 and left him for dead in 2023, 24. Staggering, just staggering and awful. And he apparently came up with this name Commanders, which is ludicrous. I mean, it's simply ludicrous. There are a number of other ways to go. I've talked about it before. No need to discuss it again. But there was no opportunity for a real vote. It was his kind of insight. Oh, yes, we're Commanders. No. Okay? All right? What about the Washington Warriors? That might have been at least bringing up some sense of what the initial reason that these idiots use that kind of racially inflaming name that they use. And now I think the name is so horrible that's why many people, and I think some of the people who were normally would be against bringing back the former name, thought about bringing it back, because this is a stupid fucking name. It's just stupid. Commanders. It's not even, the Generals would be better, but not even close to what it should be. There should be a number, take it to a group of elementary school students, kindergartners. Would give each kindergartner in the Washington, D.C. area the opportunity to put down their idea for what the team's name should be, okay? And one that might be able to be used in that fight song again, since we can't use the old name, for God's sake. But boy, what a run, what a glorious run. It really was. And it's just, all I wanted to be was competitive. That's all I wanted. That's all you want a team to be. I mean, I know other people, but I want to win. No, I just want us to be able to have the possibility that for most of the game, you might think we would win it, but this was way beyond my expectations. And many of those who I think have been fans of this team for quite a long time. I mean, we're fans to the point that these people still wearing those little, pig hog noses to commemorate that great team we had with the Hogs for a number of years, and here we are. with a great new quarterback that you hope can stay healthy because he runs a lot. He looks frail, but boy, he can fire that. He can fire the P, can he? And now that they can begin to really build around him, it's going to be fun to watch. And I'm really looking forward to it. And that was, yeah, sure, we got our ass kicked by Philly, but they really have a defense that is insane. And what are you going to do? And it was at some point this was going to have to happen. And some of the choices we made during the coaching, it doesn't matter. It was going to happen, they're the ones I thought would be in it was Philly. I picked them, and Kansas City is in it, but I actually thought that the Bills would be able to do it this time. Because Kansas City to me was a team that really was just a little shaky this year, but boy, they're unbelievable, and Andy Reid is truly a coach for the ages, and I can't believe I said that, and that's why I shouldn't be in an announcer's role, and why some announcers shouldn't be in an announcer's role, because they're saying things like, for the ages, for Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and Thomas Alva Edison, for the ages, great inventors, great presidents, great breeds of dogs. Stop it, Lewis. Okay, it was for the ages. I'm tickling myself, so it's time to move on. Dan Snyder, by the way, was whining this week, because he is really upset that they're doing well. Okay? Come on. Right? Was that why he made him awful for years? So that's really what he was hoping? And so now that they're good, he's upset because, God, I really thought that just being awful forever and ever and ever would be the way to go. And be so awful that we would scare teams with our awfulness. And when we played them, they would play down to our level. And then as a result, we could beat them because we would make the whole league sink to our... What? Who says that? Huh? He made $6 billion off this team selling it. And they said they didn't want him to sell it for that. They was not supposed to sell it for that. But to get rid of him, they let him jack up the price. This is a guy who's done things that were so wrong in his tenure. It's not just what he did in terms of the offices where he was for sexual harassment charges, for saying that they tried to make him sell that he would find things on Goodell and stuff like a thug, right? That's what he was good at. He was good at being a thug. He was good at being an egomaniac. He was good at someone who thought he could take this team and make them better, and he couldn't. He paid Albert Hainsworth $100 million when nobody would give that kind of money. Nobody. And it would be one thing if Albert Hainsworth came in and did a great job, but they didn't want him to play on the line. He wanted to play on the line, or they wanted him to play on the line and or play as a linebacker, but he really wanted to be on the line. I can't remember, but it lasted about. God knows how much money was wasted, and it lasted a little time, and that was that. He went through a series of coaches. He went through a series of quarterbacks. He had no right to be there. None. Okay? And what's the proof of that pudding? And I can't believe I said that, and I'm tired of the cliches coming out of my mouth. But you know what? Sometimes they're quicker than sitting here and trying to come up with something. Oh, that's insightful. No, here's what's insightful. Okay? He was awful. He was awful from beginning to end. And it was horrific what we had to watch. And the reason proof is in the pudding is just the kind of extraordinary celebration that went through Washington when that team was sold. They could have brought in literally a rich raccoon could have bought that team and people would be ecstatic. You could put that raccoon in an office somewhere and say, yeah, he's the owner of the team. And people would have been weeping for joy because enough was enough. No one in that position. We could have had the ghost in there of the ghost of Knute Rockne, for God's sake. Wait, we couldn't find Knute, but we picked up his headstone, and will be in the office, and people can negotiate with the head. You know, that would have been better. No one there would have been better. Okay, it's beyond belief what he did to that team, and I'd like to thank Washington and all of the folks from the entire organization for finding itself quickly in the midst of the morass that he left. It was a stunning achievement, truly, and one of the few things that has made me smile this year, because enough is enough, and we are glad to move on, and I certainly am one of those. And I'm sure my friend Dylan Baker is. He an ardent Washington fan. I can list my friend Ray Larson. Even my friend Jim Yoshimura is excited for me. John Bowman, my opening act, and even though we beat them, his team, which with the Detroit team, the Detroit Lions, even they were. We beat him, and even he actually was, took his hat off to us. And I vote back. I really thought they were going to win. John and I watched those two teams go at it, being the shittiest team in the league. And it's just great to see them both back. And I'm thrilled every time I watch Detroit play now. And just as he's excited to watch Washington play, it's what you want. I hope that Detroit gets back there next year, and we move on into a better tomorrow. So, I'll be watching the Super Bowl, and because that's the next major distraction from this shitstorm, and that we seem to be trying to fly through. Wow, and let me just say that I think something, last week I said laughter might help. You know what else might help right now? Because what's happening out there with him signing, executive order. So many that it's just more than one can even begin to keep up with. And but that he is, that we will be dealing with court case. And while we wait for those, what would be good at this point in time, because we can't seem to stop him, and there doesn't seem to be anyone around on either side of the aisle that seems to be able to kind of go enough's enough, especially with the ones that are just, come on, please give me a break. I'm doing this out of spite bullshit. It seems to me that the one way to deal with this at this point in time is what the bears do, because the bears are the smartest animal on the planet as far as I'm concerned, certainly much smarter than us. And I don't know of any other animal that does this, and so I'm sure that someone out there will please educate me. But I've for years have felt that when it comes to this time of year, this kind of cold winter bullshit, that the bear looks around and says, I'm not going to get anything done. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find me a nice cave. I'm going to find me a nice little space. I'm going to lie down, and I'm going to wake up in the spring when I can get shit done and think a little. Because all that happens, as I used to say in a stupid joke of mine, is you get nothing done. You don't even think of the winter, because you walk around going, I bet I could really, if I just did this, and then we could do, fuck, it's cold. That's the way it goes. It's that cold just interrupts every thought, every conversation, and the way in which we look at the world around us. And the bear avoids that. The bear takes that moment, breathes in, and relaxes, and goes, I'll see you. I'll see you in a couple of months when things get better, when the court cases are over. And hopefully they are. I leave you with this. Mike Johnson, shortly before being sworn in as House Speaker, read aloud a prayer for the nation that he claimed just because something comes out of someone's mouth doesn't mean it's fucking true. He claimed Thomas Jefferson recited this every day in the White House. The Thomas Jefferson Foundation, which is devoted to Thomas Jefferson, said there's no evidence the third president ever said the prayer, and noted he likely wouldn't have delivered such a public prayer. He wouldn't have delivered such a public prayer anyway because he considered religion a private matter. Why? Because he's one of the ones who came up with what is our Constitution and the separation of church and state, something we should remind ourselves of every day. Every day we should be reminded of it, okay? And to tell people to back the fuck off and take that bullshit out of our schools, take it out of the public square, okay? Take it out. You want to show that you're religious, go ahead, okay? But you don't get to use it as an excuse to pull bullshit. And that is that. You don't get to say, all right, that is bullshit, and I am moving on. I'm moving on to give you the time and to listen to the great rants that have come in. A number of them, I will say, probably, I'm not sure quite yet. We haven't collated them, but I would think a number of them that have been coming in for sure have been about our new president. And I'm sure there are other things. And I would love, if you're going to do that, find something specific to you that is affecting you. And I'd certainly love to hear from those who are dealing with immigration and migrants and how it is affecting them. But that's my wish. And if you don't want to talk about it, I fucking get it. And so that concludes Rantcast number 208. And we'll be back again next week with more and more. I keep thinking I don't want to talk about what's happening out there. And by next week, I mean, if I talk about, I think I'm going to talk about what I was, in part going to talk about this week before I said, fuck that. Let's give it a rest for a while. And I got other things to talk about. And I did. And I want to thank you all for listening and for the rants you send in. Please continue. Get them out to me. And I look forward to reading them. And it is always a privilege and an absolute pleasure to perform for you. From the bunker, yes, from the public access studio that I call my own, let me just say, so long. This comes to us from Erica Keays. It's Keays. Whatever it is, I'm wrong. But thank you, Erica, and for speaking out about the way in which my state and yours, the state of New York, is dealing with the environmental crisis that we face daily, even though we act like we don't really have one, and why should we? All right. Hi, Louis. I'm a longtime fan of yours and got to see you last fall in Troy, New York. It was excellent. See that? And I appreciate your voice and your work. My rant is in regard to the ridiculous environmental ideas that the morons in New York State government passed down in their attempt to address the climate crisis, all while frustrating the hardworking, tax-paying New Yorkers and boggling the mind. New York recently made plastic bags illegal at restaurants, groceries, and food drugstores. Plastic bags have now been replaced with cheaper paper bags that I can barely hold more than an item or two without ripping, always on the way up the porch steps or in the store parking lot, or reusable bags. While I am all for protecting the environment and doing everything we can to save the planet, I wonder how much thought the fucktards in Albany put into this push for reusable bags. They make them in different colors and with slogans to inspire us to buy them. The goal is to make you feel good to carry these bags everywhere, thinking you are making a difference. I've even had store clerks give me a look when I have forgotten the reusable bag. One is looked down upon for not towing the party line and being an environmental activist every time one forgets to get milk. Eco friendly bags are our ticket to save the planet. However, upon further inspection, you see a small tag that says made in Vietnam. Now, I cannot be sure, but I imagine a giant oil guzzling cargo ship had to bring these eco-friendly bags thousands of miles to be delivered to the upstate New York grocery store where I shop. I imagine the carbon footprint there must be something. And what kind of working conditions are the folks in Vietnam who make these reusable plant savings bags? Huh? Just out of curiosity. This long traveling eco-friendly bags, this long traveling eco-friendly bags are often made of a cheap plastic derivative or polypropylene and can now be found scattered in garbage dumps and on the side of the roadways. Huh? Not quite as biodegradable as one would like to imagine. Lastly, to add insult to injury, no less, when I take this reusable bag to the store, I fill it with items like meat, dairy, fruits, and fish, which are all wrapped in plastic. The very plastic New York State told us we could not use anymore. Literally, every item comes in some sort of plastic tubing. Even the glass jars have vacuum sealed plastic on the lids. Last week, the store clerk asked me if I would like my meat double wrapped in plastic. How exactly is New York leading the way with green initiatives? Clearly, we need a better alternative than guilting New Yorkers into buying expensive reusable bags that are neither eco friendly or consumer compassionate. Can we please get some intelligent people in the state government who can use common sense to improve our climate crisis? I would give anything for someone with half a brain who could see that this initiative compounds the problem and does nothing to solve it. I'm grateful for folks like you, Lewis, who speak to the insanity and stupidity that seems to be driving the proverbial bus these days. The next time your cheap ass paper bag bottoms out and your produce goes tumbling around the parking lot, think of me. Well, it's I am certainly glad you shared that with us, and it's probably it's unbelievable. I mean, the solutions are not solutions, but as we saw, forget it. Thank you, Erica. I leave the final word with you. From an anonymous online shopper, Steve from Rantcast 206 made a great point of the lack of intelligence in America. There's absolutely none of it. And it does not just pertain to politics. It is just more prevalent as it is shoved in our face every fucking day. I work part-time at a grocery store as an online shopping associate, and the shit I deal with sometimes is absolutely crazy. I originally applied for this job back in 2021 because of the anticipated lack of consumer interaction. And as we've gotten busier, the interactions have obviously increased. Well, over the last year or so, some customers are starting to make requests. Things such as wanting eggs that are dated a month or more from the date of purchase. Sorry, folks, we do not have chickens in the back of the store. Vegetables and fruit without dents, dings, or cuts. This is almost impossible, as these can be a soft, fleshy item. And asking if we will price match a different product with a sale price for the one they ordered. This came from a customer who has used our service long enough to know we don't, because a different store does it. These few requests are just the tip of the iceberg. I would be what is considered a Xennial, having been born in 1982, and I always thought of my generation as having good common sense. Well, that blew up in my face. Some of these people have got me to the point that I am talking to someone to better my mind so that I do not let these things bother me, but that is a work in progress. I choose to do this so I do not say something to a customer I will soon regret, saying something like, you should just come shop for yourself and see what I have to work with. Well, I'm not soft. I am choosing to better myself the best I can. With all that said above, to all who use online shopping for grocery stores, please work and bear with us. Most of us are doing the job to the best of our ability. And when it comes to me, if I wouldn't buy it, I won't sell it to you. Even though what I do is a job to you, what we do is a convenience for you. What we do in 15 minutes would take you an hour. Thank you, the Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous online shopper. I appreciate what you have to go through. I'm always kind of apologizing to them about one thing or the other, or at least telling them that they've done a good job, because it always amazes me that someone is, since the pandemic, delivering my groceries. It makes a huge difference, so my hat's off. From BJ Terry. Mr. Black, I was listening to Rantcast 206, sitting in the cold van as I wait another 2 hours for my wife to finish dialysis. When you read the stupid fucking rant from Joe Mama, first, Mr. Mama, you appear to have a lot of nerve to say someone has whiny morals when you first don't have the testicular fortitude to use your fucking real name. You shouldn't be embarrassed that it's really Richard D. Rodsucker. Second, you obviously appear to have the intellectual ability of a fucking pissant. You spent the time to actually fucking whine about someone whining. What kind of shit-covered douche nozzle basically wishes a man's death over a fucking opinion? A fucking opinion! The way to actually form a true belief and know fucking why you have it is to test that belief or opinion by exposing yourself to opposing viewpoints. Now, that doesn't mean to literally show people how much of a ballless wonder you really are. I should say to experience other opinions, because again, I'm quite sure you can't differentiate between the fucking different contextual definitions for exposing. So go back and do and think what Mama tells you to do, Joe, as she wipes your snotty nose and your dirty ass for you as you continue to spout your analingus opinions. How do you like them morals, you empty ball sack? Have a wonderful day. And P.S., yes, BJ is my real fucking name. Thank you for coming to my rescue there, BJ. I appreciate that and fully understand it. I was kind of stunned by that. And then again, once again, I'll repeat, I don't know if he meant it or was just poking the bear, which occurs from time to time, but I appreciate you tossing in on my behalf, BJ. Thank you. From Jeremy Jackson, I was expecting more along these lines, Jeremy, some responses to a recent rant we had, and I'm glad to see that you've accepted the challenge. Hello, Lewis. This rant is a response to the gentleman who railed about Miracle Whip. Why are you hating on Miracle Whip? At least it has flavor and tastes good, unlike the bland, tasteless mayo. If I had to guess, it's probably what zebra cum tastes like. Fucking salty and bland. My wife and I have this argument regularly, and I won't let her win. Ugh. Mayo don't taste like nothing. Just bland, tasteless. Why the hell is this on any sandwich? Give me Miracle Whip over mayo. Any day of the week. Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. I have problems with Miracle Whip. Always have. Mayo's always been my go-to. I think it's the way we were born and raised, and I think my friend Kathleen Madigan is on the Miracle Whip train. I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Jeremy. From Rich Sorino, here we go. I pay about $130 annually to use a commerce platform, and we'll call it Amazing. And it's amazing video streaming service. The amazing videos regularly pause to share informative messages. For example, I have learned repeatedly that circus animals want to improve their credit ratings. These intrepid animals roam the countryside on wheeled contraptions in search of credit, with the capable assistance of, we'll call it Credit Armadillo. These animals push colorful buttons on their smartphones and poof, improve their credit ratings. Do advertisers think we are this stupid? Banks don't lend to circus animals. And circus animals shouldn't use smartphones while driving. Circus animals are always leaving town. They're terrible credit risks. A bank should never lend to any circus animal. Okay? Maybe lend to dairy cattle if they have human cosigners. Dairy cattle stay near home and in touch with their cosigners. But I digress. Do advertisers think we are this stupid? Maybe yes. After all, I paid $130 to watch this crappy advertising. But Credit Armadillo paid amazing video much, much more to show it to me. One of us is the bigger fool, and perhaps you will share your perspective regarding this matter. Best wishes for not a terrible new year, Rich Sorino. Well, Rich, I have not seen these ads, and I wish I had, because I think I have Amazing, and it's amazing video streaming service. But I have not seen those ads. But I'm glad you pointed it out to us, and I'm glad they think that we'll, because a circus animal is getting their credit score. I can't even. They do. They think we're idiots, and we act like idiots. And thank you for pointing it out, Rich, once again. I appreciate it. A quickie here from Martin St. Charles. Not so much a rant, but a revelation. I'm Chucky from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I proudly served my country for 20 years with the Royal 22nd French Canadian Regiment Infantry. I now suffer from PTSD as a direct result from my service. With a lot of free time on my hands now, I try daily to better myself and do a lot of inner thinking. And I had a vision last night. I found out and finally understood why people who scuba dive fall backwards in the water. Because if they fall forward, they'll fall in the boat. Who knew? Well, we all know now. I think I knew before, but I'm glad you had a week which gave you a revelation, and I'm sorry for the PTSD. I truly am, and that our president to be is rattling on your guy's door, screaming about why you don't want to join in with us. God, we'll probably get to that. And it just comes down to, are they serious? Why would he do that? I can't even dwell on it. I won't for the time being. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for sharing. Well, actually, Chucky. It's Martin St. Charles. We're Chucky. Thank you. From Levi Johnson, some anger about our educational system. Yep, the higher one. Here we go, Levi. Thank you for this. Universities are not indoctrination camps. Listen, I'm so sick and tired of hearing uneducated conservatives write off colleges as some kind of brainwashing hubs where young adults are transformed into liberals by corrupt professors. It's a classic twist of the truth that the right is always pulling. Have they never stepped back and considered that maybe the reason people with degrees tend to vote for more liberal policies has something to do with the fact that they learn more shit after high school? Huh? How stupid can you be? Just because you dropped out, passed on college altogether, or were never fortunate enough to have the opportunity to continue your education, that doesn't mean those who finish school and change their minds must have been brainwashed. You're allowed to change your mind when you discover more information. That's how science works, dick fucks. Belief, discovery, new belief. Do conservatives still believe in Santa Claus? Because by their logic, the only truth is whatever lazy theory you hear first in life. I can tell you, I was conservative before going to school. I'm ashamed to admit I even voted for Trump in 2016. Sorry. You know why? Because the only indoctrination I'd been subjected to was uninformed, conservative bullshit that circulated like a flu in the area where I grew up. But then I learned more. I wasn't a sociology major or an art student. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as the right would have you believe. I got a business degree in a red state, no less, the pinnacle of the conservative career path. My professors were retired CFOs, CEOs, economists, and mathematicians. They weren't hippie cult leaders. Not one of them put a chip in my brain, made me recite chants, or hid information from me. As students, we were challenged to think for ourselves, read the research, ask questions, know the laws, and actually learn the history. So when I went to school, shocker, I learned more deeply about financial institutions, economic policy, and international trade. What no one seems to be saying is that college doesn't teach you how to become rich, but they teach you just how fucked you are in the American economy if you aren't willing to be corrupt. You learn who fucked over whom to build dynasties of wealth. You learn who pays what taxes and why. You learn how lobbyists essentially buy the government. Every semester was basically the same. Industrial Revolution, Great Depression, World War II, 1970s recession, 2008 housing bubble, rinse and repeat with deeper study each year. Once you know that shit, backward and forward, it's impossible to vote for things like tax breaks for the rich or the dissolution of government aid for those in need. So, yes, I'm a socialist. No, that's not a bad word. No, I was not brainwashed. No, I don't think I'm better than anyone because I went to school. However, I do think my mind is stronger now than it was before. But God, do I envy that level of ignorance from the right. It must be such a relief to disassociate from your sense of human empathy or justice. Next time, some alt-right douchebag in a lifted pickup truck tells you college is a conspiracy, ask them when they ever set foot in a college. Ever go to a class, asshole? Ever do any of the assigned readings? No, you didn't. So you don't get to say what it's like. End of story. That's very kind. Some nice words from Levi. And with love from Utah, he ends. LJ. That's a nice piece of writing, Levi, and I'm glad you shared it with us. And I love it that you went to business school and became a socialist. That's just really, it's perfect. Perfectly put. Well said. And it's true. I hadn't really thought about the fact that they hadn't been on a campus, but it is unbelievable. Just Unbelievable that they think that they're indoctrination camps. Nope. And I always felt that you show up there, I mean, if you're not a liberal when you're young, there's no room to move. I mean, if you start as a conservative, what do you become? A fascist? Huh? Well, thanks, Levi Johnson. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to share your anger and spleen with us. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me, Lewis Black. Our live rant audio was produced by James Salter. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly.